Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Alma Angeles and you're watching Eagle News International. And now on today's program. Breaking story from Russia that has sent shockwaves through the nation. The leader of the infamous mercenary group Wagner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, has made a bold and unprecedented move, issuing what can only be described as a declaration of war against his own country's top military officials. In another shocking development, new images have emerged on June 24, revealing the presence of Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Russian mercenary group Wagner, inside the headquarters of the Russian Southern Military District in Rostov-on-Don. In a tragic incident, the Titan submarine has claimed the lives of all 5 crew members, leading to a solemn return of ships to the harbor. And later, musician turned designer Pharrell Williams has taken the fashion world by storm with his historic debut for Louis Vuitton. And we have breaking story from Russia that has sent shockwaves through the nation and throughout the world. The leader of the infamous mercenary group Wagner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, has made a bold and unprecedented move, issuing what can only be described as a declaration of war against his own country's top military officials. In a dramatic message that has surfaced online, Prigozhin accuses the Russian army of launching strikes on his own troops, leveling grave allegations against the very institution he once served. But Prigozhin didn't stop there. In a separate video clip, he goes on to claim that Moscow's invasion of Ukraine was built upon a foundation of lies fabricated by the military leadership. Take a look.
Сегодняшний день российская армия отступает на Запорожском, Херсонском направлениях. ВСУ продавливают российскую армию. Мы умываемся кровью. Резервы никто не дает. Управления никакого нет. По-прежнему истерики, в которых начальник генштаба после стакана водки визжит, как баба базарная, как свинья, в телефон требуя вернуть позиции. Они все еще надеются, что они могут выиграть эту войну. Но поскольку отсутствует управление, отсутствуют военные успехи, то руководство Минобороны, оно тщательно обманывает президента, и президент получает те доклады, которые никак не соответствуют действительности. Формируются 2 повестки. Одна на земле, другая на столе у президента.
In response to these startling accusations, the Russian Defense Ministry has vehemently denied orchestrating any attack on Wagner fighters, dismissing the claims as untrue and an informational provocation.
Я призываю остановиться. Противник только и ждет, когда у нас обострится внутриполитическая обстановка. Нельзя играть на руку противника в эти тяжелые для страны время. Пока не поздно и нужно, и необходимо это сделать. Это подчиниться воле и приказу всенародно избранного президента Российской Федерации. Остановить колонны, вернуть их в пункты постоянной дислокации и районы сосредоточения.
In a stunning turn of events, the leader of the Wagner group, Prigozhin, also issued a bold statement today vowing to relentlessly pursue his mission to overthrow the Russian military leadership. Meanwhile, the TASS news agency reported that President Vladimir Putin has been briefed on the latest developments, and it is reported that necessary measures are being taken in response. In light of the escalating tensions, security measures have been significantly reinforced in Moscow. Riot police and the National Guard have been deployed to protect critical government agencies and essential transport infrastructure, ensuring the safety and security of the capital city amidst the growing uncertainty. And the situation in Russia is tense as Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner group, made a striking declaration aimed at toppling the country's military leadership. In response, Russian authorities have tightened security measures in various regions, including the southern region of Rostov. Officials have urged residents to remain indoors as a precautionary measure. Meanwhile, the country's prosecutor general has initiated an investigation into Prigozhin for his alleged involvement in armed rebellion. The Russian authorities have taken these statements seriously, given the potential implications for national security. The White House has also been following these developments, and President Joe Biden has been briefed on the matter. The National Security Council spokesman Adam Hodge emphasized that they are actively monitoring the situation. And take a look, these are the latest pictures in Rostov. User-generated content images have emerged reportedly from the southern Russian city of Rostov-Don. These images, geolocated by AFP, show unidentified armored vehicles present on the street. The origin and purpose of these vehicles remain unknown. According to Prigozhin, his forces, who have played a significant role in Russia's offensive operations, have entered the southern Russian region of Rostov. The city of Rostov-on-Don, situated near the Ukrainian border, holds great strategic importance as the headquarters of the Russian Southern Military District. And today it has become the center of attention in the escalated situation between Russian military forces and the Wagner mercenary group. And in a shocking development, new images have emerged on June 24 today, revealing the presence of Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Russian mercenary group Wagner, inside the headquarters of the Russian Southern Military District in Rostov-on-Don. These images were released on the Telegram account of a company linked to Prigozhin, adding a new twist to the ongoing situation. Take a look.
Мы находимся в штабе, 7 часов 30 минут утра, под контролем военные объекты Ростова, в том числе аэродром.
The implications of Prigozhin's presence in the heart of Russia's Southern Military District are yet to be fully understood, and it remains to be seen how this will impact the already tense geopolitical landscape in the region.
И потому действия, которые раскалывают наше единство, это, по сути, отступничество от своего народа, от боевых товарищей, которые сражаются сейчас на фронте. Это удар в спину нашей стране и нашему народу. А то, с чем мы столкнулись, это именно предательство. Непомерные амбиции и личные интересы привели к измене.
And we turn our attention once again to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, where the situation has taken a dangerous turn as well. Russia has launched a fresh barrage of missiles against Ukraine, resulting in significant damage and casualties. Dnipro's Mayor Boris Filatov shared the extent of the destruction on the messaging platform Telegram. According to Ukrainian authorities, the latest missile attacks have caused devastation and loss of life. In the central city of Dnipro, several houses have been completely destroyed, leaving behind a massive crater. Meanwhile, in the capital city of Kiev, the Ukrainian air defense systems were on high alert. They successfully detected and destroyed over 20 missiles in the airspace around the city, preventing further destruction and potential loss of life. Sergei Pavkov, the head of the Kiev military administration, confirmed this information. Tragically, the missile strikes have caused additional casualties indirectly. Falling debris ignited the fire in a 24-story building, resulting in at least 2 injuries. And the Russian-held bridge that serves as a vital connection between southern Ukraine and the annexed Crimean Peninsula has suffered severe damage and is currently deemed unusable. This announcement comes from Vladimir Saldo, the Moscow-installed governor of the southern Ukrainian region of Kherson. In a televised statement, Governor Saldo revealed that the Chongar Bridge will be closed to traffic for an estimated period of 20 days due to the extent of the damage. He also emphasized that the bridge sustained more severe damage than initially assessed, but assured the public that repair works are already underway. This development follows Thursday's reports from Russian officials who claimed that a Ukrainian strike targeted and inflicted damage on the bridge. The bridge serves as a crucial link between Crimea, which Russia annexed from Ukraine in 2014, and a section of the Ukrainian region of Kherson that is partially under Moscow's control. Governor Saldo previously alleged that Ukraine utilized Storm Shadow cruise missiles supplied by the United Kingdom in the strike against the bridge. It is worth noting that Moscow had previously accused Ukraine of orchestrating a blast on a main bridge that connects Crimea to the Russian mainland. And in a tragic incident, the Titan submarine has claimed the lives of all 5 crew members, leading to a solemn return of ships to the harbor. The Canadian Coast Guard has confirmed that 2 vessels have commenced their journey back to St. John's Harbor, while 1 ship remains at the scene. A somber atmosphere filled the port as a large crowd gathered to witness the ship's arrival. The main support ship of the ill-fated Titan, known as the Polar Prince, is expected to dock in the early hours of Saturday morning. As the operation winds down, the Transportation Safety Board of Canada has made a significant announcement. They will be initiating a comprehensive safety investigation into the devastating implosion of the deep-sea vessel, seeking to understand the circumstances surrounding this tragic event. And today, the head of U.S. intelligence addressed the long-standing speculation surrounding the Wuhan research lab in China. In a declassified report released by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, or ODNI, it was stated that there is no evidence supporting claims that a COVID-19 virus was created in the Chinese government's Wuhan lab. According to the report, which drew on intelligence from various member agencies of the U.S. intelligence community, some scientists at the Wuhan lab had indeed conducted genetic engineering on coronaviruses similar to COVID-19. However, there's no information to suggest that they manipulated the specific SARS-CoV-2 virus responsible for the pandemic. The ODNI report emphasizes that the U.S. has no evidence indicating that the Wuhan lab conducted such work on the COVID-19 virus or any closely related backbone virus that could have been the source of the pandemic. The report, prepared for Congress, comes after lawmakers demanded greater transparency on the origins of the pandemic. Some lawmakers had alleged that the virus was artificially created through gain-of-function genetic engineering research at the Wuhan lab, with Beijing covering up the evidence. However, echoing their earlier conclusion from March, the ODNI report states that almost all of the constituent agencies, including the NSA, the CIA, and the FBI, assessed that COVID-19 wasn't genetically engineered nor laboratory adapted. It's also important to note that the ODNI report does not rule out the possibility of COVID-19 being present in the Wuhan lab at the time and accidentally leaking due to negligence. And to the U.S. now, where President Biden hosted a significant meeting with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. However, the president faced inquiries regarding his recent remarks about China's President Xi Jinping being a dictator. President Biden assured that his choice of words did not undermine ongoing efforts to stabilize U.S.-China relations. Take a look.
Your comments at a fundraiser this week appear to be the first time in recent memory that a sitting U.S. president has called a Chinese leader a dictator. Did those comments about President Xi undermine or complicate the progress your administration has made in maintaining a relationship with China?
The answer to your first question is no.
Just one day after Secretary of State Antony Blinken's meeting with President Xi Jinping in Beijing, President Biden's comments drew strong reactions from China, with officials labeling his language as absurd and irresponsible.
美方有关言论极其荒谬，极不负责，严重违背基本事实，严重违背外交礼仪，严重侵犯中方政治尊严，是公开的政治挑衅。中方对此强烈不满，坚决反对。
The president acknowledged that his statement had caused some confusion, but reiterated his commitment to his beliefs. President Biden expressed that he expects to meet with President Xi in the near future and stated that the incident hasn't had any substantial consequences on diplomatic efforts.
That the hysteria about the relationship with China is collapsing and moving, et cetera, et cetera. We had an incident that caused some confusion, you might say. But the Secretary Blinken had a great trip to China. I expect to be meeting with President Xi sometime in the future, in the near term, and I don't think it's had any real consequence.
Meanwhile, part of President Biden's strategy regarding China involves strengthening ties with India, one of the defining relationships in his administration's foreign policy. The significance of this partnership was on full display today as ceremonial honors and a formal banquet were arranged for the Prime Minister.
I've long believed that the relationship between the United States and India will be one of the defining relationships of the 21st century.
However, it's worth noting that Prime Minister Modi's government has faced criticism for alleged regression in democratic values, human rights, and press freedom. Prime Minister Modi, who has avoided press conferences domestically, faced pressure to address these concerns during his visit to the U.S.
So as you raise these broader issues of human rights and democracy, what is your message to those, including some members of your own party, who believe that your administration is overlooking the targeting of religious minorities and a crackdown on dissent in India?
Democracy is in our DNA. Democracy is our spirit. Democracy runs in our veins. Regardless of caste, creed, religion, gender, there's absolutely no space for discrimination.
White House officials also highlighted the shift in India's defense procurement, with signs of the country moving away from reliance on Russian military equipment and diversifying its source to include the U.S., Israel, Britain, and other nations. Nevertheless, India's continued purchase of Russian oil has raised concerns about potential funding for the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. In tonight's other news, the Ubinas volcano, the country's most active volcano, has initiated a new eruption process after a dormant period of 4 years. The eruption has resulted in the release of a column of ash, according to the National Civil Defense Institute. Take a look. The initial emissions of ash from the Ubinas volcano in Peru reached an approximate height of 1 kilometer above the volcano's summit, dispersing towards the east. This signals the beginning of a new eruptive process, as stated in a press release by the INDECI. The statement further warns that this observed activity could lead to volcanic explosions, with ash emissions exceeding 2 kilometers in the height in the coming days. Now, this could potentially impact the populated areas located in the Ubinas Valley. The Ubinas volcano, standing at an altitude of 5,672 meters, is situated in the Moquegua region, approximately 1,250 kilometers south of Lima. Authorities are closely monitoring the situation, and if the volcanic activity intensifies, around 1,700 people may need to be evacuated. The last eruption occurred in 2019. Marco Rivera, a researcher from the Geophysical Institute of Peru, emphasized that they are closely observing the evolution of this new eruptive process. He warned that there is a possibility of larger ash emissions occurring in the following hours or days, and to ensure public safety, the regional government of Moquegua has prohibited ascent to the volcano. The Ubinas volcano, alongside the Sabancaya volcano in the Arequipa region, is one of Peru's most active volcanoes. In a major development for the future of urban mobility, German startup Volocopter is poised to transform the way we move around cities. CFO Christian Bohrer expressed his excitement following successful flight tests of their flagship model, the Velocity. These groundbreaking flying taxis are set to make their commercial debut during the highly anticipated Paris Olympics in 2024. Take a look.
What will happen is we will take experienced helicopter pilots and also fixed-wing pilots, and we will teach them the differences to fly this aircraft. But the good news is it's very simple to fly. It has a very clever digital flight control system. So the irony is for helicopter pilots, they will have to unlearn many very clever skills and learn to fly an aircraft simply again, because it's much simpler to fly than, say, a helicopter.
And today we just finished our test flights here in Le Bourget, where we flew fully electric, a nice route, and people were really wondering because they did not hear the vehicle at all. So you see big planes here, a lot of noise, but volocopter was so silent. It's changing the way we will travel in urban cities in the future. Look, for us, it's really like that we see the competition on the taxis on the ground. So we want to relieve the congestion that I have witnessed today when going here to Le Bourget, or I witness when I go from the airport downtown. It takes me 2 hours. On those routes, I want to fly in 20 minutes, emission-free, and also, I would say, very comfortable in the future. It's the redundancy. So when you look also to our vehicles, where I'm standing here right now, the most obvious redundancy are our motors. We have 18. So if one motor fails or two, it doesn't matter, we can still safely fly. On a helicopter, you have one engine, one rotor. If you have a mechanical problem, you have a problem. This full redundancy we have in our overall system. So be it on the flight control, battery. So always when one system doesn't work, the other catches up.
These vehicles. So the regulators are really coming along because it is a vehicle that we can bring to market, again, that operates at very high levels of safety, but also is helping push aviation forward. And it's an exciting time in aviation because you haven't really seen that many startups in aviation significantly change the industry. And I think eVTOLs are really at the tip of the spear that can really unleash a lot of new innovation that can come into this space. Today, there's around 50,000 helicopters globally. And if we look around outside, you probably won't see a helicopter. Maybe you'll see one. There's 50,000. There are only a handful of companies that will get to market here in the near term. So the reality is to build and scale up to those types of levels is going to take quite some time. So there will likely be some helicopter replacements, there will likely be some new markets that open up, but it certainly will take time before you see the sky darkened out, with vehicles.
And finally, in our news, musician turned designer Pharrell Williams has taken the fashion world by storm with his historic debut for Louis Vuitton. Take a look. Now, but what makes this debut truly unique is the location he chose for his grand showcase. Pharrell Williams has transformed the oldest bridge in Paris, turning it into a vibrant runway. The iconic bridge now serves as the backdrop for a mesmerizing fusion of fashion, music, and culture. The acclaimed musician turned designer has taken on the role of creative director for menswear at Louis Vuitton. Now, this position had been vacant since the sudden passing of Virgil Abloh in November 2021, and Williams' appointment has sparked discussions among fashion and music enthusiasts alike. Since his appointment in February, Williams has kept a relatively low profile, leaving many curious about his vision for the iconic fashion brand. When Williams stepped out to take his bow, he did so in the company of his entire design team, showcasing the collaborative spirit that guided his vision. In a remarkable display of genuine exuberance, he spent more than 5 minutes on the runway, savoring every second of this monumental moment. It was evident that Williams had been dreaming of this opportunity, and he fearlessly embraced his passion and desire for success. As always, I'll end the day on a thoughtful note. Our ability to look back and smile at our past is proof that God's plan is to keep us moving forward. This has been Eagle News International. I'm Alma Angeles. Stay alert, stay informed, because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.